Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3701. Today's date is uh, November 14, 2025. It's been almost like morning at 8:05 a.m. All right, yeah. Should we jump into the question? All right, let's go. Okay, question is, what if ethics evolve with technology? Okay, ethics is okay, it's a very hard to understand this question. It's not hard, but okay, yeah. All right. Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question to myself? This is what if question. Why am I asking this question to myself? What if question is always really interested in me to give the answer. It kind of like a force you to think about that reality. When I try to think about that reality or when I try to construct that reality, I'm kind of like using my information or knowledge that do I have to kind of like create that reality or things like that. And when I use that particular knowledge and information from kind of like somebody inside of my brain, it kind of like feel really good. I don't know how do I supposed to explain this thing. How would I feel really good? But it felt really good. It felt like that ki I'm kind of like utilizing my brain. Like it's something that na ki the information that I have is kind of like stuck inside of my brain somewhere in the corner. But because of asking this question, I'm enlightening up that information again to kind of like somebody express this answer or things like that. Okay. Disclaimer: the information that I'm trying to tell you is not exactly right or is not exactly wrong either. It is just my opinion. It's raw, it's unfiltered, it is just my opinion. So do not believe in any kind of like information that I'm saying, or do not seek any kind of like information that I'm saying. Okay, yeah. It is just my opinion, and opinion are subjective. Alright, let's proceed further. Now, regarding about this question, the question says that what if the ethics evolve with our technology? And it's this question is somewhat something is not difficult, but let's just simplify as simple as possible as I can so that we proceed further. Okay. First of all, let's just ask simple. What is exactly ethics? Ethics means like that ki what is exactly a wrong and what is actually right. Okay, yeah. Now it's not a universal concept. Okay, regarding about what is exactly right and what is actually wrong. But somewhat something is kind of like a something we have kind of like a something common in ground. Okay, yeah. Let me give you example. Stealing money is right or wrong? Obviously wrong. Okay, yeah. I completely agree that stealing money is wrong. Okay, yeah. It's kind of like a something resonate with our morality. Okay, yeah. What is actually we consider what is actually right and what is actually wrong. Okay, yeah. Ethics are somewhat something bit more personal. Morality is a kind of like a somebody, let's just say the morality means like that a kind of like a somebody what is actually right and wrong, that how many people consider that is right or wrong. Like basically is this thing, stealing money is wrong. So this is 100 out of 90 people's are opinion that ki stealing money is wrong. So this is morality. Okay, this is a morality. Ethics is bit personal. Ethic is kind of like a something is this thing that ki from my point of perspective, no, stealing money is somewhat something right. So this is my ethics. Okay. Now basically this thing, ethics are kind of like a bit more personal and bit more kind of like a something different than surrounding and things like that. Okay. Now obviously stealing money is a kind of like a something wrong. Okay, in every possible perspective. But ethics are considered to be a kind of like a bit more personal, bit more kind of like a self decision regarding about what do we consider as a what is actually right and what is actually wrong. Okay, and that is called kind of like a somebody ethics, like a my ethics, like a we actually consider that now it's my ethics to kind of like a somebody what is actually existing and that and that. Okay, if you still not really understand, okay, yeah, morality means like that ki stealing money is right and wrong. Most of people actually consider as wrong. That is called morality. Okay, yeah. Ethics means like that ki I usually take coffee. I didn't really take tea. So this is somewhat something my ethics, but probably it just like it's a kind of like this thing. It's our choice, right? It's not our ethics, right? Okay, yeah. Let's just say that ki uh, uh, um, 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 it's very hard to explain ethics. Okay, yeah, because if we are going to personal choices, okay, yeah, like it considered as a choice, a personal choice, then ethics are considered to be a kind of like assembly. The choices and ethics are kind of like a bit more close to, but somewhat something very much different in its own thing. Whatever, but do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, yeah, morality means kind of like a simply how many people consider what is actually right and wrong. Ethics are a bit more personal. Ethics are considered to be for me what is actually right and wrong. Okay, let's just say if someone kind of like a somebody slap me, like should I supposed to be kind of like a somebody just stay and just looked at him and kind of like a somebody, no, I was kind of like a slap him back. Fuck up, dude. This is my ethics. Okay, yeah. Like basically, I would not promote the violence, but if someone kind of like a somebody doing kind of like a violence to me, I would not kind of like a somebody hesitate to stop that. I was kind of like a let him just give him slap for just one or two. Oh yeah, but Gandhiji's ethics, Gandhiji says that ki no, do not slap him. If someone kind of like a slap him, just kind of like a wait and kind of like a somebody give another cheek for someone else and kind of like a let him slap for another round. Now this is the Gandhiji's ethics, Mahatma Gandhiji's ethics. Okay, yeah. So let me give you context. Ethics are a bit more personal. Okay, ethics are a bit more personal. It's a kind of like some rules that we create for ourselves, myself specifically. That is called kind of like a something ethics, or rules that we created for ourselves. Means like that key for everyone. That is called morality. Okay, understand this thing. Why am I kind of like a focusing on morality and things like that? Because you have to understand this thing. It's oh boy. This is broken. It's not broken, it's yeah. Like basically it's this thing na ki basically the I'm actually sitting at a pipa. Okay, what's a pipa? A pipa is a kind of like simply a can. Okay, oil can. I'm not really sure how to if you understand this thing. It's a kind of like some Indian concept, by the way. Okay, oh my god. It just broken again. Shit. Probably I shouldn't supposed to be sit on here. Yeah, I have to be throw it out. Whatever, I have another can. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, by the way, let me, if you don't really know what is actually the oil can, okay, yeah, like you understand what is the oil can. It's not really that you don't really understand. It's we have so many oil cans. Okay, oil cans is a kind of like some this thing that Indian people are actually buy oil in can. Okay, yeah. Like basically you have oils na, like basically I don't know if you are kind of like some US and Europe, probably you might not understand, but let me give you context. Okay, yeah. So we have different kind of like some oils. Okay, like a soya bean oils, then so I'm not really sure what is the really word for English for soybean oil, and like falli tel, and then tiracha tel, and then like there are multiples of kind of like some oils that we have. Okay, yeah, and we usually kind of like bought in cans. Why we do that is because of that it's a bit more affordable. One can cost you almost like a couple of thousand rupees equivalent, because in the one can you will get almost like a 15 liter of oil. Okay, which is kind of like the essential for cooking and things like that. So yeah, I don't know why I mentioned that thing. Alright, yeah. Okay, okay, ethics. Okay, ethics and morality. Okay, ethics are considered to be a personal. Morality are considered to be a kind of like a something rules for everybody. Okay, now in this particular point, do you understand ethics? Ethics means like that I like to wake up at morning. This is my ethics. I like to consume coffee. This is my ethics. Okay, yeah. I I went to work out every single day. Okay, this is my ethics. Okay, yeah, like basically it's a routine, by the way, it's a choice and things and that. But what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that key, it's a my personal stuff. Okay, it is my thing, so that is called my ethics. Okay, my morality is kind of like a something that key, I would not steal the money. Okay, stealing money is a wrong. Killing people is a wrong. Okay, so this is kind of like actually my ethics too, also my morality too, and morality are kind of like actually based on surrounding and things like that. All right, get it? Understand this terminology. Okay, ethics and morality, somewhat something. Ethics are a bit more personal. Now, regarding about the question says that, what if ethics evolved with technology? Okay, yeah. Now, does ethics are evolved with technology? Is that thing? Is that like first of all, is that key? Is ethics are evolved? Okay, well, yeah, in somewhat something context, but um, I don't know. Like probably I think that na ki probably I'm kind of like somebody understanding this concept in very wrong way. Okay, yeah, because probably I still not really understand what is exactly ethics. Okay, like basically in the Google terminology, ethics are kind of like considered as a what is actually right and what is actually wrong. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me Google it first because it's a very vague concept now, because like it's a very subjective regarding about everything. Let me go to the chat GPT. What is ethics? All right. Ethics means the study of what is right and what is wrong, good and bad, unfair and fair, and human behavior and things like that. Ethics is a moral principle guided the actions and decision. Okay, yeah. Difference between yeah, morality and ethics. Okay, here's a clear and simple difference between morality and ethics. Okay, morality is about your own internal value. Okay, sorry. Okay, your upbringing, culture and religions and personal, who do you believe and things like that. Okay, that is called morality. Okay, ethics are rule as the principle used in the society. Oh, sorry. Ethics are kind of like external guidelines created by the society professional. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was kind of completely wrong with this thing. Okay, so morality is a kind of like considered to be a personal. Okay, yeah, and ethics are considered to be a kind of like a societal point of perspective. Okay, yeah, sorry. I was completely wrong regarding like that's why I'm kind of like give the disclaimer. Do not believe in any kind of like information, because it's a very very vague concept. Okay, yeah, probably no one actually teaches that what is actually morality and what is actually ethics and things and that, but still you understand. Okay, so morality is a personal and ethics are considered to be a kind of like a societal point of perspective. Okay, morality means like that ki I like to take coffee, I like to kind of like go to the gym, I kind of like somebody wake up early as possible as morning, so that is my morality. Okay, yeah. Ethics are considered to be that ki stealing money is wrong, killing people is actually wrong. Okay, yeah. So this is called kind of like somebody our ethics. All right, yeah. Okay, that is kind of like something very easy to understand. All right, yeah. Do you understand what is at least this thing? Now let's just understand that ki ethics are evolved. Can ethics would be evolved? Yeah, ethics would be evolved. Okay, but how? How is exactly ethics would be evolved? Okay. Let's just understand this perspective regarding our societal point of perspective. Okay, because ethics are considered to be a kind of like a simply societal concept. Okay, so let's just understand from that point of perspective. Okay, killing somebody obviously wrong. Okay, everyone considered to be a wrong. Okay, now what is exactly meaning of killing people? Okay, what is exactly meaning of killing people? There are millions of way to kill the people. Okay, millions of way by shooting the gun, by knife, or kind of like a things or that. Okay, let me give you the example. Okay, you have to tell me that what is actually right, what is actually wrong. Okay, so there is a doctor who has a patient. Okay, now patient has a kind of like a heart surgery and things like that. Now, basically, in the heart surgery, it's a kind of like a very delicate surgery. It's a very, very delicate. If something went wrong, that particular person will gonna die. Okay. Now, that particular person, that doctor, is kind of like doing the surgery. Okay. Now, he made some sort of mistake. And patient are die. So basically, is this thing, who killed that particular patient? Doctor killed that particular patient, or what? Doctor are kind of like trying to save that particular patient, but because of kind of like some sort of silly mistake, that particular patient is actually die. Okay. So our ethics told us that basically killing people is wrong. Okay. So basically, that doctor did something wrong. He killed that particular people. Okay. So do I punish him? Do I not? What exactly is this thing? What exactly that? Now, in this particular context, the doctor is not wanted to kill that particular person. He actually wanted to save that particular person. But because of some sort of mistake happened, patient is actually died. Okay. So basically, in this particular context, our ethics change. In this particular context, our ethics, that basically is this thing, he doesn't really purposefully want to kill that particular person. By mistakenly, that particular person is actually died. Alright, yeah. So we actually give them punishment, but we are not actually giving them punishment as a kind of like the prison for entire life, or kind of like a hanging for 3 and things like that. No, he might get suspended. His license would be kind of like a doctor has a particular license got this suspended, or he would have kind of like somebody spend so much time on kind of like somebody practice and things and that. Okay, he would not allow to kind of like a touch any kind of like a patient or things like that, or he might get kind of like a something that probably is this thing na he would not get kind of like a jail or things like that, but he would kind of like get kind of like a serious kind of like a somebody causes, like basically is this thing that the license would be kind of like a cancel or lapse or things like that, whatever it is. Okay. So in this particular context, our ethics change. Okay. I'm going to give you another example. Let's just say, okay, that okay, so there is a strike. Okay, there are 100 people are kind of like somebody doing the strike against the government and things and that. Okay. Now there are almost like a 25 kind of like a police officer are responsible for controlling that strike and things like that. They have all the gears and things and that. They also have kind of like a gun or weapon. Okay, if something went wrong. Now strike went terrible. Like basically people have started chaos and people have started throwing the kind of like a stone and stamping and things and that God knows what exactly happened. Okay. Now in that particular context, there is a one kind of like somebody the kind of like a striker or one kind of like a one person in the strike kind of like a doing a lot of kind of like somebody vulnerable, doing kind of like a lot of kind of like a something the violence. Okay. Like basically is this thing, belong to the India. Okay. And the strike and protest are kind of like a something common. Like basically as a common people, you can do protests against the government and things like that. Okay, it's our constitution law, it's our right and things like that. Okay, but it doesn't meant to be kind of like somebody disturb the kind of like somebody government facility or government things, or kind of like disturb the kind of like consequences or things like that. Okay, it's not meant to be that. And if you involve the violence, okay, then probably it's not considered to be a protest, it's considered to be a criminal activity. Okay, now in the protest, people are started doing kind of like a violence. Okay, they are not killing each other, but they are kind of like attacking those 25 officer. Okay, now basically what exactly happened? Okay, in this particular context, one of those kind of like a protester who kind of like tried to kill that particular officer by kind of like somebody using the weapon. Okay, using weapon kind of like let's just say axe. Okay, let's just say axe. Okay, now as a police officer, he has power to kind of like, if someone kind of like try to attack him, that particular officer has power to kind of like defend himself. So he took his gun and kind of like shot the gun at his kind of like something at his leg. Okay, or maybe somewhere something. And because of this thing, that protester is actually died. Okay, it's not died. It's just, let's just say died. That protester is actually died. Okay, yeah. Now our ethics told us, okay, our ethics told us that whoever the person who killed, like basically killing somebody is actually wrong. Okay, yeah. So this person is actually killed because of this police officer. All right, yeah. So our regarding about ethics point of perspective, that police officer should supposed to be punished. Okay, yeah. But do we actually do that? No, definitely not. Why? Because this is actually happened. The police officer not purposefully wanted to kill that particular person. He was trying to make that particular protest actually happen in peace. Okay, yeah. But in some people are kind of like doing something very extraordinary and things like that, and accidentally that police officer wanted to shoot his leg, but unfortunately he shoot at his kind of like a heart, and somewhere that particular person actually died. Okay, yeah. Now in this particular context, what really happened? Okay, yeah, that particular police officer lapsed their kind of like something, the having the gun position, things like that. Like basically this thing, the police officer have a gun is because of they have a license. Okay, yeah. Their license would be lapsed. Okay, another thing is that they might kind of like only suspended for a couple of days in kind of like only police officing job and things like that, probably. Okay, yeah. We would not kind of like let him police officer hanging or kind of like somebody went him into the prison and things like that. We would not gonna do that thing, definitely not. Okay, yeah. But probably is this thing that we would kind of like punish him kind of like in somewhat something is a mild way, a softer way. Okay, yeah. Because yeah, you have to be stop that protester by kind of like shooting the gun in the air, or probably you have to shoot the gun in the leg. Okay, this is kind of like a sort of rules that the police officer that they have. Okay, the police officer doesn't really want to, like they are not allowed to kill people. Okay, they have a gun. Okay, and they can use the gun when they need it, but when they wanted to use that gun, they wanted to kind of like somebody aim at kind of like their leg and things like that to make him vulnerable, to stop that particular thing, not to kill that. But if the kind of like somebody activity kind of like far beyond that, then probably police officer have kind of like a credibility or have power to kill another person too. Okay, but whatever. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing that basically in this particular context, our ethics are changed. In this particular context, our ethics are changed. So what exactly is this thing? Is our ethics are evolving? Yes. Is our ethics are evolving? Our ethics are actually evolved regarding about time and things like that. Okay, yeah. Like basically is this thing, killing people is wrong. Okay, yeah. But not in every context. Not in every context. Okay, yeah. You purposefully kill somebody, then that is considered to be a wrong and you should supposed to be punished. Okay, yeah. But like unintentionally, because of you, that particular person has to die. Okay, yeah, you will get some sort of kind of like a punishment, a mild punishment, but you will get that thing. But it's not considered to be a kind of like a something is this thing that you are the responsible for his death, and no, not really at all. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you, our ethics are changed according to the time, according to the scenario and things and that. All right, yeah. So regarding about the question says that is our ethics are evolved with our technology? Well, probably I'm not considered as a technology. I'm considered as a kind of like something is this thing, a time. Okay, yeah. Because technology is growing really faster, very, very faster. And probably our ethics are not kind of like somebody coop up with that. Ethics are not really coop up with that. Okay. But it kind of like a change with the time. Okay, with the time. Now regarding about the killing people is kind of like somewhat something very much kind of like understandable concept. Okay, but not everyone try to kill the people. Okay, so let's just understand ethics in kind of like as simple as possible as you can, so that everybody could understand, everybody could resonate that particular thing. Okay, yeah. And I do have experienced that. Okay, so basically in today's date is a kind of like a 14th of November 2025. I'm belong to the India. Okay, yeah. Specifically in India, we have UPI. Okay, UPI is a kind of like a technology that you could send the money, and you can kind of like send the money to the merchant or anyone by mobile phone, and it's far more easy, and it just kind of like super fast. It just like a scan it, kind of like a press the button and just send it, and it just sent. Okay, yeah. It's a kind of like a digital wallet and things like that. It's really good. No, basically is this thing. This is what I kind of like a seen. Okay, I born in 1993. Okay, I seen this technology evolve, and I seen this how much it impact to the society and things like that. Okay, I believe in this technology, I believe this system and things like that. Okay, does my father believe in this particular technology? No, definitely not. Why? My father didn't really seen that money should supposed to be sent by kind of like online. Okay, yeah. So my father always considered that he sending money online, it's scam. They actually consider it's a scam, and they are not believing that particular process. They definitely not believe in this particular process, and they always literally hesitate to kind of like send the money or things like that. They always kind of like only making sure that they should supposed to be kind of like a touch and hold the money by their hand and kind of like a give it to them. Okay, yeah. They actually consider that kind of like only value. Sending online to the someone else, it's something really, yeah. Now let me give you context. Okay, my ethics told me, okay, my ethics kind of like something, ethics are kind of like a societal point of perspective. Okay, yeah. In the societal point of perspective, everyone are kind of like doing online transaction, everyone are kind of like doing the transaction, and my father arbitrarily hesitate to do the online transaction. Okay, they are kind of like, because they seen the scam, they kind of like somebody heard the scam news at every single day that is someone kind of like somebody blunted for this amount of money and this and that, and I belong to the India. Bhai, there are so many scamsters in India, bhai, just like too much, whatever. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, my perspective looking at the online transaction is a bit more kind of like flexible. Okay, yeah. I'm kind of like literally educated regarding about the UPI and literally regarding about the online money and things like that. But my father does not. My father does not. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, from my father's ethic point of perspective, they will not gonna change. Why? Because in their entire bit of lifetime, they haven't really seen this particular technology. They just kind of like only just seen this thing just couple of years, and they might not gonna believe in that particular stuff. Okay, yeah. So that's why ethics are not changed with technology. It change with time. Like basically, I am their upgraded version, so I'm kind of like simply understanding this particular concept and things like that. But my father did not really understand. Okay, simple example: choosing the career. I choose to be career as a YouTuber. I choose to be career that I wanted to be a kind of like a making content in YouTube platform. Okay, yeah, this is my career. My father didn't really believe that a YouTube, a kind of like a making videos online, are considered to be a kind of like a something, a profession, a career. Okay, so their ethics are completely changed. They completely kind of like, they don't really believe in that particular stuff. They always consider this is kind of like a really fucked up shit. You will not gonna earn money. You will not gonna, just kind of like a waste of time and things and that. Okay, yeah. So that's why ethics does not change with technology. Ethics change with the time. Okay, ethics change with the time. Some people love to accept that thing. Some people did not. Okay, some people did not. Okay, and this is what kind of like ethics that we have. Somewhat something like ethics are kind of like a community based event. Okay, but it's kind of like morality would be changed too. Okay. So regarding about the question says that does ethics are evolved with technology? Well, probably is this thing. I also mentioned that yes, our ethics would be kind of like evolved with technology too. Okay, yeah. But still is this thing, I would still believe that ethics are kind of like evolved with the time. Okay, yeah. Because time is a kind of like a things that change everything. Because technology is kind of like going really rapidly, but time is actually going consistent. Okay, by the way, time is not consistent, time is relative, but time is relative is a kind of like some universal concept. Okay, we are in kind of like some day-to-day life. In day-to-day life, time is actually running a consistent amount of kind of like a space and times and things like that. So basically, time is a kind of like a for normal day use, time is a bit really consistent, and ethics are changed according to the kind of like a time. It's not changed with technology probably. But still, is this thing that our technology is a kind of like a bit more different. Okay, like regarding about the data and things and that probably is a lot of stuff. Whatever, I will not going to talk about that particular things. It's a far more beyond that concept. But still, this is kind of like my perspective regarding about what is actually ethics and how it kind of like change according to the technology, more specifically time. All right, this is it. I should supposed to be end here, and thank you.